Now writing, get used to it. You must practice writing answers to exam questions. Don't let it get to this stage. Some of my students in the past were so used to typing on their laptops that when they got to writing in the exam, they found that their hand was actually getting too tired from writing. They then tried to strengthen their hand or arm muscles by taping batteries to their pens to act as a weight. Try to have neat writing that is easy to read. Don't have tiny, unintelligible writing. You don't want to make it difficult for the examiner to read your answer. They're actually trying to find marks to give you. Now highlighters. You need to have a good set of highlighters. They're your best friends. Highlight keywords in the questions. When you see something in the question that you know, don't just do a brain dump. Make sure that your answer reflects the keywords in that question. Go back and check after you have written the answer. Know the verbs that are used in the questions and how to answer them. For example, words like define, discuss, justify. So if you're asked a question where you needed to define something, you'd state the meaning and identify essential qualities. As opposed to if you had a question where it's asking you to discuss something, you'd identify issues and then provide points for and against. Here's an example. Say you had a question on earthquakes. Don't just write down everything that you know about earthquakes. Focus on what that question is asking. For example, is it asking you to outline the processes that cause earthquakes? Or is it asking you to identify the technology that is used to monitor or record earthquakes? Or is it asking you to discuss the possible impacts of earthquakes on infrastructure or possibly society in general? The way in which you answer your question could actually impact the number of marks that you get, so please be careful. In your answers, try to use what we call linking words to build your responses. For example, words like however, because, as a result, or things like firstly, secondly, lastly. An example might be, you were talking about strategy X. This was implemented, but it was not successful in containing the introduced species. So, as a result, a second strategy, Y, was introduced. Keep building your answer. Use examples to illustrate your answer to demonstrate your knowledge. It might help to convey what you are actually trying to say. And be careful to note any plurals in the questions. Examples means more than one example. And you can make notes on your exam paper. It doesn't matter what you actually write on there. It's your paper. Use the space. For a longer response question, think about how you're going to set out your answer. Set out the structure. You could do this perhaps in dot points. Check that you are happy with it before writing a full response. This might help with the flow of your answer, and it could be neater and easier for the examiner to read.